Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true.
We can't investigate without report, Indicom says, after video shows cops slapping man in face. The Independent Commission of Investigation said it has forwarded to the Jamaica Constabulary Force a video of an incident in which a policeman slapped and later arrested a man on Tuesday. The incident reportedly happened in Portmore St. Catherine, a video of which has gone viral on social media. Hamish Campbell, Indicom's Assistant Commissioner, told reporters that his department could not probe the incident unless a formal report was made to the body. "We have not received a complaint by the man who was struck by the officer, so we cannot do an investigation," Campbell shared. "But we have notified the JCF and asked them to address the matter." In the video, 3 policemen were seen talking to 2 men standing either side of a motor car. The conversation was not audible, but one of the men was heard shouting at one of the cops who was in front of him. Another policeman walked between them and slapped the man in his face. The third cop tried to go between the man and his colleague. The first policeman, who was shouted at, went for his firearm but did not pull it and eventually went to assist his colleagues. While this happened, onlookers, including the man who seemed to be doing the recording, started cursing the policemen. Several indecent words were uttered by the onlookers. The policemen managed to get the man on the ground, and at least one man in a civilian clothing went to the officers to speak with them as a crowd gathered. The video ended as the cops were handcuffing the 2 men. Joshi turns himself in to police, questioned. Dancehall artist Joshi surrendered himself into the custody of the Constant Spring Police in the company of his attorneys, King's Counsel Peter Champagny and Richard Lynch, earlier Wednesday afternoon. It is understood that the entertainer, who was wanted by police for questioning in relation to the death of a businessman in Grants Pen earlier this month, was interviewed and released. Police believe that Joshi could have information about the death of 45-year-old businessman Omar Rumi Wright. Reports are that Wright was killed on Shortwood Road about 10:40 p.m. on June 7 by armed men. There are allegations that Joshi's mom, who operates a wholesale business in the area, had an altercation with Wright, during which he threw water in her face. It is rumored that Joshi, whose real name is Safari Clark, then reportedly argued with Wright about the incident. Wright was gunned down hours later by persons unknown. Since the murder of Rumi, the Grants Pen community has been tense, as the businessman is the brother of an alleged don in the area. Decomposing body found in Hellshire. A man hunting for crab stumbled upon human skeleton remains in a swamp in the vicinity of Old Hellshire Road, Portmore St. Catherine on Saturday. Reports from the Greater Portmore Police are that about 10:30 p.m., a man was hunting for crab in the area when he stumbled upon the remains. He reported the discovery to the police. On arrival of the police, the remains were seen in a swamp, bedclad in blue jeans. It was subsequently removed to the morgue. The Hellshire community has become a hub of criminal activities in recent weeks. 2 people were killed in Hellshire recently when a crime spree that started in Gregory Park, Portmore, turned deadly. A man and a woman were abducted and forced to withdraw money from corporate-era ATMs before police intercepted the kidnappers on the Hellshire Main Road. Another shootout led to the death of one of the gunmen and the male victim. In January, 4 alleged gangsters were caught trying to dispose of their injured crony on the Hellshire Main Road. The police said that the man's cronies could have taken him to a medical facility but opted to dump him on the roadside. In September last year, the decomposing body of a man was found in a barrel in a swamp along the Hellshire Main Road in Portmore St. Catherine. People with information that can assist investigators are asked to contact the Portmore Criminal Investigations Branch at 876-949-8422, Police 119 number or the nearest police station. Tears, thunderous applause, and standing ovation. You could hardly hear the music over the cheering as Nicolas Harris was presented with the plaque of the Nation's Compassion of the Eternal Father Award on Sunday at the AC Hotel Kingston. "I would like to first thank God, who is involved in all of this, and I would like to thank the Eternal Father Awards for organizing this," Harris said in an emotional acceptance speech. Harris was presented with the award by Romaria Lyons, the reporter, who first highlighted the family situation in an attempt to boost donation to their GoFundMe account. Harris lost his 18-year-old daughter, Dejanae DJ Harris, in November last year. The Wolmer's girl graduate was diagnosed with liver disease in 2020 and died due to complications 3 weeks after her father, Nicolas Harris, risked his life and gave her half of his liver. After the 14-hour surgery at Boston Mental Hospital for Children, Harris had said that he had to help his daughter and hope that the operation would save her life. Dejanae's aunt Stacey Ann McFarlane Francis had contacted the reporters, and a story was told carried to raise awareness and to help raise funds for treatment. A second story was done after the selfless father learned he was a perfect match for his daughter and decided to give her half of his liver. After the surgery on August 29, 2022, DJ remained in the intensive care unit and her father was discharged and was on the med at home. Harris, who was experiencing severe pain at the time, maintained that he had no choice. I sat down and signed those papers to go in, knowing that I might not come back out or may not come back out okay. My daughter was suffering for quite some time, and it is not an easy thing to see someone you used to hold your hand in pain and suffering like that. She has been suffering for over a year, so I just had to make the decision, he had said. Last Sunday, teary-eyed, he said, I'd also like to use the opportunity to encourage all the males out there to not just be a father to your child, but to be a father to the nation's children. Harris added, we need to go back to the time when it took the village to raise a child, and just last week, when I heard of the tragedy with the 8-year-old, I just can't imagine being a human being, being a father and being able to hurt another human being, especially at that age, the innocent. Harris said he hopes the event will encourage others to start caring more and start looking out for us as in a nation. Teen girl, 2 adults fined for lottery scamming in St. Catherine. A teen girl was yesterday fined $200,000 or 3 months in prison for lottery scamming in St. Catherine Circuit Court. The conviction against the minor, who pleaded guilty to possession of identity information, will not be recorded against her due to her status. Her co-accused, Dwayne Minto and Kevin Gersey, who were also pleaded guilty to possession of identity information, were fined $900,000 or 9 months imprisonment and $400,000 or 9 months imprisonment, respectively. A fourth accused, Romaine Miller, was freed after no evidence was offered against him. A fifth accused, Brooklyn Miller, was ordered to come back to court on June 22nd when the matter will go on trial. Facts in the case are that on July 22, 2022, members of the Security Forces Joint Anti-Gang Task Force swooped down on the gated community of Caribbean Estate in Portmore, St. Catherine to carry out a raid. During the operation, a house with 8 persons, 6 men and 2 females, was searched and the occupants held. The police discovered several documents containing information about persons living overseas, several cell phones and SIM cards, and laptops. A Toyota Mark X motor car was also seized. The occupants were held on suspicion of lottery scamming. Following investigations, 5 of them were charged. UNICEF against mandatory 28 imprisonment for children who murder. UNICEF is calling for the government to reconsider proposed changes to the Child Care and Protection Act, which could see children convicted for murder serving a mandatory sentence of 20 years in prison before being eligible for parole. UNICEF outlined its concerns to a joint select committee of Parliament on Tuesday. UNICEF argued that the proposed changes are contrary to Jamaica's obligations under the Convention on the Rights of the Child, CRC. International Child Justice Specialist Shelley Casey, who spoke on behalf of UNICEF, also argued that hard sentences do not deter offending by children. The most effective way to ensure public safety is through rehabilitation, not punishment, and that lengthy mandatory terms of imprisonment are cruel and inhumane and do not recognize children's greater rehabilitative potential. She further argued that imprisonment increases the likelihood of reoffending and puts the public at greater risk, and that a better solution to societal concerns is to invest in the root causes of violent offending. Cassie noted that children engage in persistent or violent crimes are generally influenced by a range of social and environmental risk factors outside of their control, such as family violence, abuse and neglect, trauma, educational exclusion, socioeconomic disadvantage, drug and alcohol addiction, and mental health issues. She said many of these problems are compounded by children's psychosocial immaturity and their skepticism of the peer pressure and exploitation by adults. Imprisonment of children fails, Cassie stressed. That is not to say that custodial sentence is never necessary, but it should be for the shortest appropriate time as stipulated by the CRC, she pointed out, adding that more time may be required for rehabilitation in some cases, but confining children for longer than is necessary fosters further criminality. Correctional centers often act as schools of criminality where children learn more offending strategies and sometimes create lifelong friends with other offenders, UNICEF stated.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell